Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe 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 Govinda Govinda Radhe.
Today we are reading from Vilapa Kusumanjali, verse 12.
Wow. Verse 12.
12.
Very good.
O Kalyani,
Yeah.
auspicious or beautiful girl, when will the jingling of your ankle bells, that is like an ocean of nectarian rasa, cure my deafness?
Wow. Are bhai, I listen Grama Katha. I can listen many material topics and I can articulate also. So this way my ears are blocked. Everything I can listen. For her jingling is still purity not come to one place. When they will come in my life, that I can listen her jingling and Krishna fruits. When the Guru Kripa will happen, when the mercy will come to me, that I can only listen and well, jingling and the when it right? This is the life. Yes?
Yes. O Kalyani, auspicious or beautiful girl, when will the jingling of your ankle bells, that is like an ocean of nectarian rasa, cure my deafness? Notes.
Look to Jayananda Maharaj and see when he wants to share, you have to watch for.
Only a faint reflection of the illumination of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami's love in separation from Swamini is revealed through the syllables of this Vilapa Kusumanjali. Krishna himself.
Repeat the line, not rush. Understand the line.
Only a faint reflection of the illumination.
Where reflection comes? In the mind. It reflects in the mind.
Only a faint reflection of the illumination of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami's love in separation from Swamini is revealed through the syllables of this Vilapa Kusumanjali. Krishna himself descended to earth as Gaura to experience his own sweetness and the sweetness of Srimati Radhika's love for him. For this, he became Virahi, experiencing separation from himself, and taught all the sadhakas of the world that one must first experience viraha before being able to relish milana, meeting. In this way, he increases the prema sindhu, the ocean of love of his devotees. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami also relishes Sri Radhika's sweetness through viraha, separation, although he is her eternally perfect maidservant. Sri Radhika always acts for Krishna's welfare. Therefore, she's named Kalyani here. Nanda Maharaj daily feeds millions of brahmanas for Krishna's Kalyana, and Mother Yashoda gets up early every morning to pronounce mantras for Krishna's protection before he goes out into the forest. Sri Krishna's constitutionally transcendental name is the fruit of the vines of all the Vedas, is sweeter than sweet, and more auspicious than all that is auspicious. But Sri Radhika is auspicious even for him. This can be nicely illustrated by the following song of Govinda Das, describing Radha and Krishna's Purvarag, beginning of love. One Duti, girl messenger, came to Sri Radhika to tell her how much Krishna is in love with her. Radhe, when Subala gives Krishna a golden garland of champaka flowers, his mind trembles and tears of passionate love flow from his eyes. O beautiful girl, your form always awakens great love in his heart. Day and night he murmurs, Vrishabhanu Nandini, without saying anything else, out of confusion. Although hundreds of thousands of girls speak sweet words to him, he does not listen to them even in dreams. He can only pronounce the first syllable of your name, Ra, but out of ecstasy, he cannot pronounce the other one, Tha. His eyes carry streams of tears. That jewel of men rolls on the ground. Who can describe his distress? Govinda Das submits this news about Kanu, Krishna, to your lotus feet. Know that he feels miserable and that only your grace, Kalyana, can destroy his suffering. One morning, Radharani sees Krishna with the signs of Chandravali's lovemaking on his body. So she becomes angry with him and refuses to speak with him. Her Sakis tell her, Radhe, the whole of Braja is miserably suffering because of your stubborn huff towards Krishna. Everyone is unhappy except you. He who is the life of Braja rolls on the ground and has given up eating and sleeping out of misery. He has become weak and skinny. Seeing his condition, all the mobile and immobile creatures of Braja are also loudly crying. Only you are happy, giving milk to the snake of your peak. Is that auspicious? That's not auspicious. Give up your peak. Out of separation, Sri Raghunath Das says, you are my Kalyani. Not only is Sri Radhika auspicious for Sri Krishna, she is auspicious to the whole world, for she gives joy to the world as God's pleasure potency, of which the essence is prema, love. She gives that transcendental loving ecstasy to all the devotees and thus sustains their lives. The Upanishads speak of Shreya, Kalyana, or that which is good for us, and Preya, that what we like. The saints accept that what is auspicious and beneficial, spiritual and lasting happiness. And the fools accept that what they like most, temporary, sensual.
But again, fool what they like.
The fools accept that what they like most, temporary, sensual happiness.
Wow.
And what is welfare? Srila Ramananda Rai said, Krishna Bhakta Sangha Vina Shreya Nahi Ara. There is no other welfare than association with Krishna's devotees. From the viewpoint of Leela, Sri Radhika is indeed auspicious for the whole creation. Krishna creates the world through his Ichcha Shakti, desire potency. And what is his desire? He desires Radhika. Therefore, without her pleasure potency, the world cannot live. Without Krishna's desire, personified by Radhika, there is no material world. Without the material world, there are no material bodies. Without material bodies, there is no sadhana, spiritual practice. And without sadhana, there is no prema. All the senses of a Chatarati Bhakta, a devotee who has attained a strong taste for bhajan, have become deaf for the impressions from the material world. He only hears Radhika's Anklebells, and he is not disturbed by material allurements. For him, the material world goes out of sight, and the Nikunja comes in sight. He hears Govinda's flute and sees his bluish effulgence mixing with Radhika's golden effulgence. He feels the touch of their lotus feet. Srila Rupa Goswami says, "Your speech is like a stream of nectar, so strong that it will flush the trees of my material existence away." And Govinda Kaviraj says, "I have locked my outside door, my material lookout, and have opened my inside door, reaching to my Manjari Swarup. Worldly people cannot understand this ecstasy. Who else but a person who has awakened in his eternal identity can address Radharani like this, calling her Kalyani?" Srila Bilva Mangala Thakur glorified the jingling of Sri Govinda's ankle bells in his Krishna Karnamrita. May the sweet jingling of the jeweled ankle bells of the Gopi lover, Krishna, the lover of Radha, that sounds like the cooing of the swans in the lotus forest of the Yamuna river, be manifest in my mind. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj writes in his commentary on this verse that the jingling of Krishna's ankle bells is so relishable because he is following Srimati Radhika at that time. Then how can we describe the sweetness of the jingling of Sri Radhika's ankle bells when she is followed by Govinda? Swans are eating lotus stems by the bank of the Yamuna to enhance the beauty of their voices, thinking, if by eating these lotus stems my voice could only attain at least 1,000th part of the sweetness of the jingling of Govinda's ankle bells. Just as a pupil hopes he can sing or explain just as good as his teacher can in the future. What then to speak of the sweetness of the jingling of Sri Radhika's ankle bells? Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati writes, "When can I see Sri Radha with her charming form, shyly looking down at her own toes when she sees the moon-like face of Krishna, the king of relishers, from afar, as she steps along with jingling ankle bells? The endless streams of Mahabhav that gush from Radhika's limbs when she experiences the ecstasy of seeing Krishna sprinkle her ankle bells and make their jingling sound like an ocean of nectar." Sri Raghunath Das says, "Please let me relish just one drop of the sweet nectar of this jingling." His heart is filled with this strong desire, and this desire always increases, causing him to lament like this. Words cannot really describe these lamentations. Through these prayers, the absorption of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami can be experienced. Not everyone can be addressed so lovingly with Kalyani. all auspicious Swamini. The sweetness of this address does not indicate the heart's perception of anything from this material world. These transcendental pastimes bloom up within the heart in such a way that nothing from the visible world can be perceived within the heart anymore. Material consciousness muddens the heart of the aspirant. This experience cannot be had through mere dry knowledge, but only through pure love, characterized by an intense feeling of mindness. The great sage Sukadev was astonished by the feelings of mindness felt towards Krishna by his loving devotees in Braja, and he told Maharaj Parikshit in Srimad Bhagavata, the Lord, who is called Adhokshaya, he who is not perceivable through the material senses, has no inside, no outside, no before, and no after. He is pervading the world from west to east, inside and outside, and his form is the world itself. But now he allowed himself to be bound to a grinding mortar by his gopi mother, just like an ordinary mortal human child. Here, the all-pervading Lord loses his omnipotence at the hands of his loving devotee. What is impossible in the world of tattva, spiritual truth, becomes possible in the world of Leela. Although Krishna is the Supreme Lord, who cannot be perceived even by great mystics, he still allows his cowherd boyfriend, Sridham, to mount his shoulders after he lost the game. The Supreme Lord, whose lotus feet cannot even be perceived by the greatest mystics, now holds his lotus feet on the chests of his cowherd boyfriends. There is no comparison to the amorous relationship a devotee can have with the Lord. His beloved is sitting in a kunja, being angry with him, and the Lord stands at the kunja gate with tear-filled eyes, like a beggar, like an offender. Manamai, proud Radhika, then angrily rebukes him, saying, "Go, Madhava, go, Keshava, don't speak your false words to me. Just follow that girl who removes your sorrow, O lotus-eyed one." Prema really becomes manifest when there develops a feeling of he or she is mine. Lord Brahma prayed to Krishna in the Bhagavata. Lord Brahma said, "Everyone may say that he knows you in full. Let them know it. What more can I say, O Lord? I cannot perceive your greatness. I cannot perceive your greatness with my mind, body, or words. But in Braja, a tailor will come up to Krishna with a yardstick to see what his size is. That is the wonderful power of the love of Braja. Their dress, Kalyani, is illuminated by the sweet luster of Radha and Krishna's mutual relish of each other. The Acharyas have taught, we must see Shyama Sundar from Radharani's perspective and Radharani from Shyama Sundar's perspective. Sri Krishna bestows auspiciousness on the world, but Srimati Radhika bestows auspiciousness even on him. Sri Govinda considers himself blessed when he attains Radhika's company. He feels that his world is empty without her, and she feels the same towards him. Rishabhanu's daughter thinks, I fell in love with he who can never be possibly attained, and out of love I cannot even die of shame. There's no end to the chastisements of my superiors. I am completely controlled by others. What a contrary condition! Why don't I die? The parrots can see Krishna, but there's no way for me to see him. Shyama Sundar also cries for Radhika all night, missing her, although he is Ananda Ghana Vigraha, the very form of intense transcendental bliss. And when he opens his eyes, he thinks he sees his mother giving him a cloth that is yellow like haldi. In this way, he remembers her again. Who in this world knows how to love like her? Still, Shyama did not manage to experience her love fully, so he accepted her mood and complexion and showed an anurag similar to Radhika's as Sri Gauranga. During the final 12 years of his manifest appearance, Sri Gauranga was burning in the fire of that love in separation. What a condition for the embodiment of transcendental bliss! Each pore of his hair was on fire. That is the agony of Krishna's Kalyana Karini, Sri Radhika, who acts for Krishna's welfare. With his own hand, Krishna completed a verse of Gita Govinda with the words, Dehi pada pallavam udaram. Radhe, give me your generous lotus feet. It is as if Krishna said to the poet Jayadeva, O Jayadeva, why are you hesitating to write this down? My whole life is fulfilled when I attain these lotus feet. Who else knows how to love but she? The whole world tells me, give, give. Only she says, take, take. She worships Krishna in a form that fulfills his desires. And thus the Puranas call her Radhika. She is the queen of the Kunja cottage, who makes eager Shyama enjoy so much, as if He is a beggar getting a meal in the royal palace. Sri Raghunath Das says, "You are making everything auspicious for Krishna. We are happy to see that. When will your ankle bells, that jingle while you fulfill all of Shama's desires, remove my deafness so that I will not desire to hear anything else anymore?" The jingling of these ankle bells takes place when Shama Rasa is relished. But these ankle bells don't just jingle straight away, they jingle within this relish.
Huh? Within.
The jingling of these ankle bells takes place when the Shama Rasa is relished. But these ankle bells don't just jingle straight away, they jingle within this relish. This sound will awaken such devotional yearning that the ears do not want to hear anything else anymore. That is the poetic secondary meaning of the word badhirya, or deafness. Hearing material sound vibrations like radios, traffic, mundane topics, and so is also meant by deafness here. In this connection, Sri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, "That which is night to all beings, in that state of transcendental bliss, the self-controlled saint keeps awake, and that temporary material happiness in which all beings keep awake is night to the seer." Then Sri Raghunath Das sees a sweet pastime through his spiritual eyes. Radha and Krishna dance the rasa. Krishna stands still, and Radhika's ankle bells give the rhythm to the sweet tune of his flute, which is the emperor of sounds, and increase that sweetness. Meanwhile, Shyama relishes the sweet jingling of Radhika's ankle bells, as well as the sweetness of his own flute playing, which is like an ocean of sweetness. That sound, that tune, is the great opulence of the kingdom of God. His lotus-like mouth makes the flute play the sounds of Brahman. This sweetness makes everything sweet and reverses the natural behavior of all living beings. It stuns the moving creatures, and it causes the trees to get goose pimples of ecstasy. In this way, the jingling of Radhika's ankle bells causes the ocean of sweetness of Krishna's flute song to increase. Srila Rupa Goswami wrote, "O all-pervading Lord, when will my ears attain the regal opulence of the best sound vibrations when I hear your flute song, which is mixed with the jingling of Urjeshwari's Radhika's Anklebells, that defeats the sweetness of the warbling of Lord Brahma's swan, and that delights my dull ears. The dullness Rupa Goswami mentions is the same as the deafness Das Goswami mentions in this verse. Shyama is the relisher of the jingling of Srimati's Anklebells, and the relish of the sweetness of this nectar ocean awakens into Lassi's heart through Shyama's relish. Then suddenly one Anklebell falls off Swamini's lotus feet and stops jingling. It is as if something is missing then. Tulasi stretches out her hand to put the Anklebell back on, and then suddenly the spiritual vision disappears, leaving Sri Raghunath Das to lament. When will the jingling sound of your Anklebells remove my deafness? Sri Rasika Chandra Das sings, Alas, Srimati Radhike, O embodiment of auspiciousness, my ears are incomparably deaf, and the sound of your Anklebells is like an ocean of nectar. When will this sound enter into my ears and increase the bliss that I desire there, thus destroying the disease of deafness at the root? The end of verse 12.
Can you repeat the last sentence, please?
Yes. Sri Rasika Chandra Das sings, Alas, Srimati Radhike, O embodiment of auspiciousness, my ears are incomparably deaf, and the sound of your Anklebells is like an ocean of nectar. When will this sound enter into my ears and increase the bliss that I desire there, thus destroying the disease of deafness at the root?
Yeah. I think also you listen, right? Varanga. Sundar says something.
Oh, Gurudev, what to say? Every every word, every syllable is a pure nectar and deep meaning. And Kishori was reading so nicely that we can hear the jingling of Radhika's bells. I can say this Kalyani, all auspicious. And I heard from you that Kala, it means time, and it means that Kalyani is auspicious every time, every second, all the time. She is auspicious to her lover. She is auspicious to her maidservants, and she is auspicious to all the world. And that's her beauty. This auspiciousness is her beauty. This is her alankara, emotional ornament. And only these ornaments, her feelings, her deep feelings, can be so effective to purify my deafness, Gurudev. So listening, meditating, and hankering for this sound is actually sadhana. And this sound is waking a deep viraha in the heart of all aspirants and sadhakas who understand that without viraha, milana is not possible. And the more the feelings of viraha are, intense milana is. And during the time of milana, viraha disappears. So this is Kalyani.
Yeah.
My short explanation, Gurudev. Radhe Radhe.
Yeah. Yeah. Any more you want to share? Haridas? Haridas? Haripriya? You see, Kishori, how important is Anklebells? Haridas is not there. Yeah. Anklebells of Kishori is very
So for Mohan is very important. When he plays the flute,
important. Say in the picture.
so for Mohan, the ankle bell is very important because when he plays the flute, the ankle bell is in tune, and they have sometimes like a competition who is better in this expert dancing and in the sounds, Radharani or Krishna. So even for Krishna, the ankle bell is very important. Jayananda Maharaj, this morning Gurudev was sharing about the Ananda we can experience also in Viraha. Raghunath Das Goswami is experiencing also Ananda in Viraha. And in the material world, Viraha is suffering. But in the spiritual world, it is kind of a bliss. So can you tell us a bit more about this? That both Milan and Viraha are important in our spiritual sadhana, as we hear from Raghunath Das Goswami in Vilapa Kusumanjali.
Yes, Viraha. Viraha is if someone who loves somebody, like I say, if somebody loves somebody, and then they're so intense for desiring Milana meeting, and always remembering, like a Purvaraga, before a meeting, they hear something, and then always remembering that lovers. Actually, Viraha and Vipralamba for sadhaka is actually internal meeting. Externally is not meeting, but internally they are meeting. But sometimes if we don't love somebody, or if we don't have any feeling, then even though we are meeting Milana, but still internally is not connected. So therefore, for our sadhaka, this Vipralamba Seva, or like Viraha, if someone has strong greed, then that person is actually meeting inside. So therefore, this Milana is very, very nice, but externally so much suffering, but internally is connecting. That's I can say a little bit.
Thank you. Gaurachandra, can you share this example Gurudev gave with the fire and the ice? Gurudev gave a nice example this morning about Viraha.
Radhe Radhe. In the morning, today he went little mad in ecstasy. We were reading the verse number 7 of Vilapa Kusumanjali and the commentary of Anantadas Babaji Maharaj. And he is giving the example of ice and fire, or that separation and meeting are two sides of the same coin. So he gave the example also of ice and burning charcoal. If you put your hands or putting very cold ice on your skin, then it also starts burning. Same as hot charcoal burning on your skin. And the cold ice is compared with the separation, and the hot fire is compared or symbolize the meeting. But both is burning. Both is spiritual ecstasy. And Gurudev was sitting in his chair and saying, eyes and fire, eyes and fire, like this. So it was very sweet sharing in the morning. And we are, Raghunath and me, we were so lucky to experience that. Yes. And from the subject we were listening now, then I only can pray that I become deaf for the material sound. I ask myself why I'm not becoming deaf, why I'm still interested in material sound, listening the news. Then I'm watching our Keshav Baba or some Babajis at Radhakund. For them, nothing changed. The whole world going mad, but for them, nothing changed. Same. Because they don't have this, they are deaf for the sound of the world. So I want to take the mirror and watch why I'm not becoming deaf for the sound of the world. Radhe, Radhe.
Radhe. Happy Mother Day to all of you and a big hug. Actually, Mother Day because we're all females, right? In our constitutional position. So it's for everybody. Valid. And what I heard when Kishori read today, a very nice sentence came into all this. And this is what is possible in the world, impossible in the world of Tattva, is possible in the world of Leela. So I just want to change the words. I just want to say instead of Tattva, knowledge, and in the name of Leela, love. So in this, we have an understanding. With our knowledge, we can get up to the fourth dimension. Not further. It's impossible because it's the boundary of this universe. There are 4 dimensions. But what we heard is about Leela and about love. When the Anklebells jingles, and you always hear it and you always perceive it. And this is in the combination with Mohan's fluid, the 5th note. The Anklebells, they are exactly in harmony. And that is what we are all looking for. We're looking for harmony, nothing else, love and harmony. This is included there. So the 5th note of Mohan's beautiful fluid sounding is exactly the same note like the Anklebells. So that means we can go beyond boundaries of 4 dimensions. And we go into the 5th dimension, which is the sounding of the Anklebells. And if you don't hear when Radharani is dancing the Anklebells, then we should be very, very attentive because our service is to put it on. Our service is to put it on and to put on the Anklebells again and be there. So knowledge is stopping and finished, and then love starts. So the 4 dimensions are conquered, but the 5th dimension starts. So this is love, and this is the jingling of the Anklebells. And when we listen carefully, and then, this is beyond the boundaries of all the limitations we can imagine. The scientists try to measure the whole universe with cameras and all these different technologies, but they cannot go on, they cannot go further. It's like when a child comes to a wall somewhere in the park, it comes to a wall and there's a wall in front of it, but beyond the wall it's going on, but the child cannot jump over the wall. So this is the Anklebells, they lift us up from Radharani, and they lift us up and they bring us over this wall, over the wall of knowledge, confusions, misconceptions, total wrong conception of the material world. And that's why it makes possible in the world of love, everything is possible. We can never think that something is impossible. Everything is possible. Sometimes we hear things from the spiritual world. This is all possible what we hear. But it's impossible in the world of Tattva. That's why the world of Tattva, the ones who want to understand that still the door is closed. I can't open the door. The key is lost on the floor. And the key is love. So when we get that love, happy Mother Day. We are female. Radhe Radhe. Jai Ho.
Jai Ho.
Gurudev Gurdas Babaji writes that the only sound in the universe which can match Krishna's flute is Radharani's Anklebells.
Oh.
And when Krishna is playing the flute, sometimes he's also testing the Sakhi's willpower. And sometimes their clothes dishevel when he plays the flute. And their hairs open up, their braids, everything gets loose, they can't resist. But then Radharani says, I will show him today that my Anklebells are stronger. And then they have this very nice exchange. With every note Krishna plays, Radharani responds with the Anklebell. Can you tell more about the Anklebell?
An Anklebell makes him either like a tala. So like this to dancing. He cannot stand like this. He starts moving with his flute. You see that Krishna is dancing with the flute in his golden color. Black Krishna with sweetness, big eyes. The gopis become mad to see them. When he dances, it becomes so sweet, vibrating, and playing flute and trying to please Radhika and all gopis. Very clever. And it's becoming madder. But why Krishna is playing flute and dancing? Because of the Anklebells. And in that moment, one hand, it come out. Then he becomes nervous. Why not matching my flute and this training? Tulsi Manjari knows that. And then immediately he put his when I went to Japan, I started listening to Anklebells in Japan. It was surprised. I don't know from where this sound is coming. This Anklebell sound comes from where? I don't know. I was very anxious. Where we travel, Anklebells are there. Honestly, I don't know to understand Japanese. What I listen on Anklebells there. Only Anklebells. I was surprised. Where is this Anklebells? So sweet. Something I cannot explain. Till I was traveling in Japan, I was listening that Anklebells. One day, when I had to go, then I found from where sound is coming. And really, it makes me nothing to listen, because if I listen, what I will understand Japanese, nothing. But that Anklebells was the hope in my living in Japan. So similarly, I feel it by my material mind that how Anklebells is important of the story, that we have to be in that Anklebells only to listen and become dumb, deaf from the listening other sound. Yeah. We are dumb. Already we are dumb. All Chandra is telling. Because we are listening material sounds. We have to wake up that we not listen other than Anklebells and the flute of this, and how they sweetly, when Krishna starts dancing naturally, and rhythm will be there. If you know little dancing, you will start moving. This rhythm makes you to dance. And this rhythm coming from Anklebells. And Anklebell, the drum player is also moving how the Anklebell is moving. Wow. Just I was one time, 25 years back, 30 years back maybe, in Patna. I was going for some work. I was working like something to do it. I listened to one bhajan and beautiful sound and kirtan. I forget to go to the work and I have appointment. I leave that and I start moving in that direction where the sound is coming. And the speaker is so sweet and so attractive voice. Cannot imagine. Then when I'm walking on that, I say, this sound, this voice becomes so attractive that I left my very, very important job and I start moving for this sound to find from where it's coming. I think this Krishna flute, when you listen, what will happen? And it starts tears, 30 years, tears start coming. When I will listen the flute of Krishna, I don't know much about Radha that time. This attracts to the gopi. And when I reach that place, somebody say, Karpatri is there. And when I reached there, Karpatri, she was Mayavadi Sadyasi. He is eating and very elevated, very famous. And when I reached, he started talking on Vrindavan. And he started talking for Radha and crying. When I see about Radha Krishna talking and crying, why to think to go any other place for a job or that thing? I forget. And I was, wow, become mad. So, in my ignored condition, I can be a mad, but about Nitya Siddha, Sadhana Siddha, other. And everyone can do like that. Huh? Madness enter like this. And these madness come also to Kripa Siddha by the grace, mercy coming out. There are.
So Manjaris have to take care of the Anklebells very much.
Wow. He is not taking care even the Anklebells. A to Z. She's carrying out my Swami. Swami cannot live without Manjari because she is so mad for the Krishna. So she cannot calculate outside. So who will take care of that? She forgets herself. What is there and what is not there. Always you see in the past and she forgets this, she loses this, she loses this. Why? Because she has no idea what is happening, what to keep and what not to keep. Mind is not moving other places. One point. So Manjari, see the external, all the external. She is not interested to wear the ornaments. And she said, you know, Krishna stand in your right side. Huh? So what he catch your left hand? And why he catch your left hand? That he can move that left hand very easily to many places. I don't want to say it. So he can easily move that where he chose. So where he is keeping the left hand, if I put this ornament, what is name I call it?
Tassels.
Then Krishna will feel very proud of you. Yes, put it. Immediately put on my head. Immediately. Because to think that Krishna will touch you. Ornamenting is thinking for Krishna is ornament. And same ornament, when she go to Avishar, one by one throwing out. So whole day meditation of the ornaments make connected with Krishna, and evening, Manji said, why you're throwing like this so fast? Where I will bring next time. He said, you can take them, take her. I cannot wait. It's too heavy for me to walk. I have to rush fast. I have to reach soon. I have no time to wait for anything. And it will make me so heavy. See, doing like this. So for her, nothing ornaments is the value. Only the value for her. My Swami Krishna. That is the one value of Krishna. So Manjari only can understand this type of value for Radhika, what is the highest value in the eyes of my Swami. So where we exist, are Manjaris are the baby of Radhika. Vatsalya. Baby, na? Feeding the breast. And one 11 years baby whose whole life material involvement, how she will become spiritual and so connected with her. She said, no, come on, take my breast. Drink my spiritual milk. And when you will take this milk, it's all spiritual. All your material desire will finish. This breastfeeding is of Radhika to healing with love for the spiritual life. This is her breastfeeding to Manjari. Who can touch the breast? Only the baby or lover. One is the lover, Krishna, and one is the baby of Radhika Manjari. So Manjari is very deep closeness. Baby has very deep closeness with his mother. But this mother is so friendly that you cannot imagine. In motherly love, all rasa come junior. In conjugal love, all the motherly love also coming. So the highest rasa, why we select conjugal love or motherly love? Because this lower rasa automatically will inside.
Manjari's seva is to ornament Radharani.
Yeah.
Krishna's seva is to spoil it.
Yes. You see, decoration, material life make you to decorate. Spiritual life is the decoration destroying. Krishna destroy the decoration of Radhika. Even the altars he destroyed. And to show in material life, he has to fix it up nicely that she not embarrassed to give the answer why it happened. He says, show now outside. She prepares, fix my all this, what you destroy. Nicely. And nicely, Krishna cannot do this because when he touched the feet or hand, he becomes nervous and excited. Then Manjari pushed, you're not going to do it. Please rest and I will do it. And she do first. So this is the great mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu of Nityananda, that we can go in this understanding. Prem is prayojan, love is goal. Jananda confused me by telling this. Whole life I waste 20 years of my life that God is the goal. And yesterday, after 100 times realization, 2 days before when he is giving class, I have been shocked that your goal was God, but goal has to be love. Goal has to be love. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said goal is love. Radhika is the goal. Krishna himself said that goal is love. Who said that God is the goal? Vedic philosophy say, Shastra say, Scripture say, what do you say? Naran Maharaj say, come out from the regulatory principle, then you can enter in Raja. When it will be clear that goal is the love, then you want to be always. You not want to take only flash of Kishori. You want to be with her. This is the love, goal of love. And only one flash of God come to me, light is spark. I don't believe in a spark and light. I want with the form my Kishori. That is my goal. That is different, yeah. That is the prem, not a flash. God, only we need one flash, and what I will ask, He will give me. Here, what you have to do. I have to do something to make you happy. You're nothing give and take is there. If you give and take is there, then there is Chandra. Very movie. Vrindavan is there, but not my Kishori Kunja is there. Chandravalli. I don't know myself. Raghunath Das Goswami, even the Saki Astari bring one cup, he throw like anything and take anything from that. This is not our Swami's service. Be careful on this earth and now. This is the sadhana bhakti. This is to live in the sadhana, in the bodily consciousness and prepare ourselves. Seva, sadhak rupena, what seva? This behavior of activities is the seva. What is sadhana? This behavior has to change in the sadhana. Sadhana is something else or going as something special, mantra, a special thing to do. This is the great sadhana. My mistakes, I want to improve and balance it. This is to do. Seva sadhak rupena. And when the sadhak rupena service happens, Siddha rupena chatu. How deep you go, you realize. How deep you go in that subject. Fire will really burn you, right? If you put fire, and really it will burn. But it will give you burning feeling. But what burn? Some blockage will come. But it's not burning. And fire is really burning. So Radha Rani has to teacher. Reality is there. And with the material life is a burning. But walking on the desert for the water. It looked like burning desert walking. That maybe some waves are there, water is, but it's really not water. Huh? You are in Europe, you can feel that. Huh? Yeah. What they do, it's no make you to like a feel to burn. Very burning, very blocked. Your blood will block everything. But blocking, yeah, and really feeling blocking also, right? They will block you more. Here really you will burn. Yeah, thank you. Radhe Radhe Govinda.